tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
All right, y'all, we're here, we're live, it's Monday, and y'all are watching Buster Unmasked. We got an awesome show for you today, a great guest. But look, before we get started, I hate doing it, but I gotta do it. Be sure you like this video, be sure you share this video, and then go to Buster H.R. Johnson. You can see it above my head. Go to Buster H.R. Johnson on YouTube and subscribe. It would really help me out a lot if y'all did that. Excuse me, guys. Look. Got an awesome show for you tonight. My guest tonight's one of these hungry young guys who's really making a name for himself out here around our territory. And he's currently the top dog at Pro Wrestling Mid-South as the unified heavyweight champion. I bring to you none other than Thud Powell. Thud.
How you doing?
What's up, man?
Nothing much.
Dude. Thud, before we even get started, one of my most favorite names of anybody in the wrestling business, dude. I love Thud. I love Thud Powell. You and Car Crash Kid, I think both of y'all have my most favorite names of anybody around here. So let's start right there, man. How did you become Thud, man?
Matt Riviera was trying to teach America Strong how to do a chair shot or how to do a forearm to the back. And she just wasn't getting it. So he said, it's just like a chair shot. He went and got it, and he slapped me in the back with it. And I was 15 years old at the time, and I wasn't ready for that. But she tried it, and she hit me right with the rim of the chair right across the spine.
Right.
And he said, all right, you're done. Darren, you can go ahead. And she bent over. I gave her a forearm to the back, and he was like, that's what it's supposed to sound like. Right there, that thud. And it just stuck from there. Dude, we did a couple CWA shows in Arkansas with him, and I reffed as I think I was Thud Thornton.
No, dude, I love it. And that's how the best names come about. Most of the time, somebody gives you your name. You'll do something or say something, or somebody will look at you and it'll click in their head. I love it, man. Thud got to be one of the top wrestling names anybody could have, dude. I'll be honest with you.
It's definitely different.
So look, man, brand new Pro Wrestling Mid-South Unified Heavyweight Champion. Now, this is actually the second go-around, so talk to me about this time. Talk to me about winning this belt the most recent time, and then we'll kind of rewind a little bit, and you can tell me about the first time around. But talk to me about winning the belt recently and what it means to you, dude.
First off, I'd like to say Peyton Pee Wee Pitts and me started on the same day, and he ain't very good with math. I watched his episode, and we started 8 years ago, not 10. But we worked 8 years, and now I've done some other stuff. But we started under Greg Anthony at Pro Wrestling Mid-South. At the time, it was NWA Mid-South. So like we started here, and we saw guys come in and they'd get the title, and one guy, Drop Dead Del Wild, he kept it for like 900 days, and
Right.
he busted his ass every week, and so I always knew that I wanted to do that, and I finally got the opportunity uh, after I just came back this last time after the injury. First match back, Brandon Ray, and I got it at the Freedom Cup tournament.
Man, Brandon Ray, look, here's the thing. I think he's a 2-time champion too, isn't he?
I believe so.
Yes, and he's had a death grip on that title for a good while now, man. That was that's a Hoss matchup right now. Talk to me about facing off against Big Brandon in the middle of the ring, dude.
He's a lot. He's one of the biggest guys that we got, and that's not calling him fat. I mean, he is stout. There's not many
Right.
people that can just toss me around like he can, and there's not many people that can toss him around like I can. It was everybody likes to say big men slapping meat, and that was that.
Man, and he is a big guy. Here about a year or so ago, I was talking to him at Premier Pro, and I'm a big guy too. But man, when I was standing up next to him, I thought, man, this damn dude is huge, man. He's
And
big, he's thick, and he's stout. You can tell it, man. He's a big country corn-fed boy. Uh, ain't no doubt about that. But he held that belt for a long, long time. So you the guy that wrestled it away from him, man. That's got to be cool for you.
yeah, I like it.
So look, like I said, this is your second time. So let's rewind a little bit and talk to me about the first run with the title. And like you said, you just came back from injury, and I think that had a little bit to do with the reason you lost the title. So talk to me about your first go around as the Pro Wrestling Mid-South Unified Heavyweight Champion, man.
Uh, it was the last Saturday of the year. I can't remember if it was the 30th or the 29th or something like that. But I wrestled Brandon for the title back in December. Won the title. Uh, that next week we were in Oklahoma. Me and DJ, the Punishment Company, wrestled in Oklahoma. The next week we were double shotting, so we were going to do something in Middle Tennessee around 2 o'clock, and then come back and wrestle that night. And I was
Right.
gonna that night was gonna be my first title defense. Well, while we were in Middle Tennessee, it just like a freak way I just stepped, tore my uh, MPFL, my meniscus, my MCL, tore quite.
Man.
My kneecap actually went like behind my knee. If it wasn't for the AMA knee pads being so tight, excuse that, my son's playing with his toys.
Oh, he's all right, dude. Hey, I
But
got kids, dude. They cool.
if it wasn't for the AMA knee pads being so tight, I would have had to probably put my kneecap back. But whenever I hit the ground, uh, it came back, and I've been injured quite a bit, not just from wrestling, but I've just had a tough go of it. And whenever I told DJ that I was hurt, if he thought I was done for the match, or I thought I was done for the match, then he knew something was wrong. So
Right.
I was gonna stay in for a split second, but the dude came in and drew the ref, so I went ahead and just tagged out. And DJ finished that whole match by himself. That happened pretty early into our heat.
Right. And DJ, we're talking about David Jason Rose, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So talk to me about, because that's a heck of an injury, dude. It sounds like you pretty much blowed your whole knee out.
Yeah. Uh,
So talk to me about recovering from that. Did you have to have surgery? I'm sure you did.
they did 5 weeks of physical therapy to try to avoid it, but it didn't work. So they
Right.
did. We ended up doing a knee surgery where they went in and fixed everything, and then I did another 7, 8 weeks of physical therapy, and then just recently I got to go ahead to go back and start doing start doing more athletic things. And whenever I got that, I went ahead and took the opportunity and got back into it.
Well, talk to me about the mental state of having an injury like that. did you second guess making a comeback, or was just always a foregone conclusion for you that if I can come back, I'm coming back?
For a split second, I thought that everything ended in that National Guard armory. Because like I said, I got this. I got a baby, house payment. I got other things going for
Right.
me. And this is actually my second knee surgery. I had one when I was 18 due to like my bone dying. I had a cadaver bone put in on the same
Wow.
knee. So yeah, this second knee surgery. If it would have been, I was done. I wasn't going to do anything. And then I had that. I had to. I dropped the title, and it was a record 15-second thing, and I was pretty tore up emotionally about it because I wanted to try to have one last real match,
Right.
but obviously that wasn't possible because there's a chance I could hurt myself even worse. But I talked it over with a few people that were close to me, and I decided that because it was like this freak thing, because it didn't happen in the middle of a move, it didn't happen because I did something crazy outside the ring. I just took a step and rolled my ankle, and that's what caused it. So because it didn't happen because of wrestling, it just happened during. I decided to go ahead and give it one more shot, and I'm doing certain things like I'm wearing a knee brace to keep the kneecap in place, and I'm not doing nothing. I never do anything crazy, uh, but just trying to keep it taken care of.
Right. Now, you talk about never doing nothing crazy. That's a good thing. That's the one thing I like about Greg and Pro Wrestling Mid South, man. He trains you guys to wrestle. You don't have to do a lot of. There ain't a lot of times you got to go out and do something crazy to get over with the people, man. All you guys that I've seen, and it's hard to see a lot of you guys because there's not a lot of Pro Wrestling Mid
Yeah,
South footage out there. But every one of you guys that I've seen, I've had Pee Wee on a couple months ago. I had David Jason on probably 4, 5, 6 months ago now. But every one of you guys, and obviously I've had James on Blaze Ray, he's been on several times. But every one of you guys know how to stay on the mat and make it happen. And that right there cuts down a lot of opportunity for injury too.
yeah. Well, Greg Anthony is Greg Anthony, but me and Peyton Pee Wee Pitts were his test dummies for his training, his curriculum that he teaches. Now he kind of had it in his head what he wanted to do, but there were things that worked and there were things that didn't. But even 8 years ago, he was teaching just about the same way he is now, and he's just an old school guy, and he teaches us to be old school. Now there's moments where we do the new school stuff, but it's nothing. That stuff is great if you still sell it, but most guys they want to do 47 super kicks and then finish on a roll up. It just nothing that they do makes sense. Greg said there's a time and a place for everything as long as you can make it make sense.
Right, I agree with that 100%. It's got a pro wrestling's all logic and psychology is the way I look at it. It's all psychology, but you got to put your stuff together logically, and that's the one thing I like about all you pro wrestling Mid South guys, man. And so look, man, I know it's been you've had the injury, you finally come back from that, and then I know last week, man, you've been going through a lot. Your dad passed away last week, man. We were talking earlier. Like I said, man, my condolences to you and your family, dude, about that. So talk to me about what's going on with you right now, man, and your dad passing and where you're
Uh,
at mentally, man, from all this that's going on.
well, mentally, nobody ever wants to lose a parent, but for me, it was a little bit different because he was mom and dad. He was a single parent that raised us. But he was more than that too. He was also like my best friend. So he'd come over and we'd watch my matches. Actually, one of the last times that I saw him, we sat down and watched me win the Unified Heavyweight Championship this last time. and he
Wow,
was so
that's cool.
happy. Uh, but as far as that, yeah, no, he's a big supporter. He's one of the reasons I got into wrestling as a fan when I was little, and he helped me. Obviously, I was 15. I couldn't do anything by myself when I started training, but he signed all the paperwork, and he thought it'd be good for me, and now we're here.
Right. So big influence on you, just as your dad, but big influence on you discovering wrestling and eventually getting into the wrestling business.
Yes, sir.
So look, you and Peyton started together 8 years ago. We were talking beforehand. You're only 23 now,
Yeah.
but you've already been wrestling 8 years. So talk to me about those 8 years from where you kind of started at to where you feel like you are right now, man.
Uh, well, everybody I feel like thinks they're really good when they start, and then like you you really got no business lacing up a pair of boots, but you do.
Right,
Uh, me and Peyton were actually looking at a couple of our matches from 2017 ish, and we just like dropped our head. We thought we were the greatest things in sliced bread, but now I'm not saying I'm the greatest wrestler ever, but I'm confident that I could go anywhere and have a good match with anybody. Doesn't matter
right,
what you want from me. I'm confident that I could deliver it.
right. So you started training at 15. How long did you actually train before you had your first real match in front of the crowd, all that?
Well, our first match in front of a crowd was actually at like birthday parties. Now Peyton got a jump start. He got his first match was 5 or 6 months in. I was a couple months behind him. So, but my first match was against the posse,
Right,
Simon Reed and Little Chris. My
right.
first match was against Little Chris, who had had a great night the night before, and really wasn't feeling it the next morning.
So talk to me about that first match. Talk to me about, were you nervous? Talk to me about how the match kind of played out and how you felt before and after the match and even during, man.
Oh, like I was a deer in headlights. I walked down that stage where I walked through the curtain, and I turned around and just walked back to the back, and Greg had to physically shoved me out. And then I walked down the wrong side of the stage where there is no fans, and I got up on the ring, and I was a heel in a mask. I look young now. I looked like an infant back then.
Right.
But no, I got in there, and the bell rang, and I basically just got my ass whooped for I think 8.5 minutes, and I won with a victory roll.
Oh, there you go. First match, first win.
Yeah.
Wow. So talk to me about, were you like, you come out, then you turned around? Was it just nervousness, stage fright? What was going
Oh,
on
it
with
was
you?
before wrestling. I couldn't talk to anybody. Like if I didn't know you, I couldn't speak. Like I was just too nervous. I'd get anxiety real bad. And
Right,
Greg, when I was in like I said, I started as a freshman in high school. Greg actually got me to take theater so I could be more comfortable in front of crowds.
right.
But yeah, it was right around there. I wasn't feeling it right then. I got I just froze, turned around and walked back.
Man, I understand that. I had a big issue with stage fright when I first started. I literally pulled up at shows and turned around and drove off, man, a couple of times and just enter. I don't even know what it is, man. I call it stage fright, and I had an issue with it, and it takes some getting used to. But man, let's rewind back just a tad. Greg Anley tells you to go take theater at school. Talk to me about, you're training to be a pro wrestler. Your aspirations are to be a pro wrestler, and the man tells you, "Hey, man, why don't you go take some theater at school?" What was your thoughts about that?
Uh, well, by then I'd already had my first match by the time I started taking theater, so I understood exactly why he wanted me to do it. And me and Pee Wee were the same age, we were in the same grade, so we took it together. And we never did any plays or anything like that, but we got more comfortable speaking on stage and things like that. And in the long run, it really helped a lot, not just in wrestling, but now I can walk up to somebody that I don't know in public and just have a conversation with them.
Right. Yeah. Hell, a matter of fact, last Monday night I had a guy on named Drayshawn Prince, and it's only you and him's the only two that it's ever come up, other than one of the females, Bashley Bones. She took some drama and some theater too, but last week's the first guy I had come on and say that he did the same thing. He took theater in high school, and he was the same way too. Stage fright, nervousness, and he kind of took theater for the same reason to help him overcome being in front of people, public speaking, and just whatever it's. Look, here's the thing: wrestling is beautiful for that because I feel like I was terrible as far as stage fright. I had it to the umpteenth degree, but you just kind of push it out of your mind and go on out there. And once you get out there, for me, once I got out there, all that kind of faded away once everything kicked into gear. How was that for you? Was it all just the build up and anticipation, and then once the bell rang, all the nervousness kind of fade away and you were at home, or did you have issues with still being nervous?
I had issues with being nervous for a while. Uh, Now, I said that Greg encouraged it. I believe actually that it was my dad who mentioned doing it, and I mentioned it to Greg. I believe it's been 8 years ago, so it's kind of hard to remember. But I think Greg was like, "Yeah, that's a great idea. You need to do it," and he really hammered it in to get it done. But as far as when the bell rang, I remember one time I was making my entrance and I tried to jump over the rope and I missed. And I was a babyface and they started booing me. And I locked up with Coco Anderson and I said, "What?" And he said, "Do something." I said, "What?" He said, "Never mind." And he just whooped my ass for 10 minutes. But no, I still had issues with stage fright and with being nervous for quite a bit. And then probably about year and a half in, I really started coming out of my shell.
Right. And you're like you started from scratch with Greg Anthony. So let's talk about pro wrestling Mid South. Like you said, when you originally started, it was NWA Mid South.
Yeah.
So talk to me about Greg working for Greg, not only as a trainer, him being your trainer, but just then working for him. And one thing I feel about you guys is y'all are a tight knit group. The one thing I don't see ever out of any of the pro wrestling Mid South guys is any drama anywhere for any reason. I never see none of you guys get caught up in any of the backstage drama. Well, I don't know that you don't, but it never makes it to the public. Is one
Oh
thing
yeah.
I'm saying.
Uh,
And I feel like that's part of Greg Anthony. That's something that he would feel strongly about. Hey, we keep our business in house. We don't let our business out here to the public.
uh, yeah. No. The older I get, the more that the boys are not just the boys, especially here. It's really a brotherhood, things like that. But now there was some times because I might have been had stage fright or been shy or nervous in front of the fans, but there were times where I just didn't know when to stop in the back. I was a kid, so
Right,
I ruffled a few feathers with guys like Brandon Ray when he first came in when I was 18. I had a loud mouth, and but we're all good now. But there were times where there was a little bit of issues between some people, and if it was involving me, 9 times out of 10, it was just because I didn't know when to stop. But
right.
no, Greg does keep everything professional and in house, and Now we've got quite a bit of kids that just started working, and I'm seeing the same things they're doing, and I'm just looking over, and I'm like, was I like that? Jesus,
Well, Greg, look at you. Say, yeah, sometimes you's worse, man.
he did.
But
That's exactly what he said.
well, here's the thing, man. In my opinion, pro wrestling is a weird business in a sense that it's sport and it's entertainment 100%. Like it is, it's athletic theater, pretty much physical athletic theater, and maturity. Here's the thing, like you said, you come in as a kid. Well, as a kid, now you're in the back, man, a 15, 16-year-old kid with all these grown men. And in a wrestling locker room is a locker room. You know, there's no telling. Everybody's back there busting each other's balls, telling stories. Should be laughing and joking because that's when you get your best camaraderie, when all the boys can, your best shows come out when all your boys have good camaraderie. But I feel like it takes a level of maturity too. And I can understand as a young kid not knowing where the line is. You know what I mean? Where, hey, we can take it this far, but crossing that line right now, I ain't got the seniority for that. You know what I mean?
And no, there was a lot of times where a few people probably wanted to just smack the shit out of me, but they never did, and I was able to, and especially when we first started, uh, when I first started, I kept my mouth shut and I listened, and then when I got used to everybody in the back is when I started kind of running my mouth a little bit. And I thought it was funny, or I was trying to be, and it just didn't work out that way. And some guys like Tracy Smothers, there was a time where he was like, "I'll whoop your ass with this stick," and I got real tight-lipped, and I apologized, and he said just calm down, kid, just listen,
Right,
sit down and listen.
right.
I
And
was
that's
trying
all.
to I was trying to be one of the boys before I was one of the boys.
And there you go. That's what it is, man. When you first come in, eyes and ears open and mouth shut's the way I was always taught and told. But I mean, here's the thing. I think you got lucky because I've seen kids, teenagers come into the wrestling business and just be thrown in the dressing room, whether they're referees or whatever. And a lot of wrestling dressing rooms can be wild. I mean,
Yeah,
there's a lot going on, you know, and sometimes it's a bad influence on a young man like that, you know. A lot of times they get in that environment and it don't take but a few weeks or a couple months, and hell, they think they're grown too. So they think they can say all the same things, do all the same things that all the other boys are doing, and it's rough. But I feel like at Pro Wrestling Mid South, I feel like Greg probably kept an eye on all you guys and reined you in probably when you needed to be reined in. Where a lot of dressing rooms, a lot of promoters, a lot of bookers would not do that. It's just kind of chaos, you know. They just let it happen. Whatever happens, happens.
yeah, and 100%. Greg. Now I tell everybody now, Greg has softened up quite a bit with the new guys, but whenever we first started, me and Peyton, if we were in the wrong, we would hear about it and we wouldn't stop hearing about it. He'd chew our ass. He'd make sure we knew, but and he doesn't just let everything slide now, but he's a lot more forgiving now than he used to be.
Right. I think it comes with age, man.
Yeah,
I feel the same way, man. Some of the things that with my goat back in the day, man, they don't even really phase me no more. I'm like, oh, whatever, you know. Another day. So look, let's get back to you being the new unified heavyweight champion of Pro Wrestling Mid South, man. What is your goals with this title run, dude? Where do you want to take this? Because here's the thing. Obviously, Greg, he's still the AIWF World Heavyweight Champion, but I feel like You the top dog at Pro Wrestling Mid South as the company. You the guy right now. So talk to me about that, man, and what your goals and aspirations is with this time.
Well, everybody, whenever they think of the greatest people to hold that belt, Greg or John, and those are good answers. But when I think of it, I think of the guy who held it for uh, can't remember if it was 800 or 900 days, but drop dead wild. I want to be like that guy. Somebody that just couldn't lose it. Somebody that uh, when he got in the ring, whenever it was down at the 3, you knew that it was over.
Right.
Uh, yeah, that's just something I look forward to.
Well, hit me up with this. Let's stay right in the Pro Wrestling Mid South perimeter right now. Who who do you feel like your biggest challenger is right now for that title, man? Who you feel like's really gunning for you?
Brandon Ray.
Brandon Ray. That's what I figured, man. So you feel like we're gonna see some more clashes between you two guys?
Oh, I'm sure.
Okay, let's open up the box. If you had a dream opponent, let's keep it in our territory: Memphis, Arkansas, Missouri, Tennessee. Let's keep it in that box. If you could have one match with anybody out in our territory, who's dream match around here?
No, I don't know. There's a lot of great guys that are at our company, and there's a lot of great guys that aren't. And some of them don't like, might not necessarily get along with Greg, or might not get along with some other people. But no, there's really too many good people around here to pick. I would just say anybody that would want to wrestle me, I'd take it. I just like getting in the reps. I like having matches. Uh, like I said, I've been doing it 8 years. I think I've got somewhere around 1,200, maybe 1,000 to 1,200 matches in.
Wow.
And I just I like having I like being able to say that because uh, there's guys that I've met that have been working for 5 years that's got 3 matches.
Right.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it's like that, man. That's the business, man. So, Greg Anthony, like I said, AIWF World Heavyweight Champion. Do you see maybe a matchup with you against Greg anywhere down the line, maybe for that AIWF World Title, or what? Or you think you're not quite ready for that yet, or what?
to be honest, whenever I won this one, I wasn't sure if I was quite ready. No, I don't think I wouldn't turn it down, but I'm not sure that I'm there yet.
Right. So, man, your main goal right now is just keep fending Brandon Ray off right now and get a new challenger in the slot, huh?
Yes, sir, and just keep getting those reps in. And actually, it's not just that. Also, before I got hurt, like I said, we were going to Oklahoma. There were opportunities to go to, I believe it was Indiana while I was hurt and I wasn't able to do it, and just get in as many states as I can. Because right now I've only got like 3, and I think that's Illinois, Oklahoma, and Tennessee.
Well, so I'm glad you mentioned that. So, talk to me about branching out and like the first time you went to another town, another promotion, another territory, and worked out of Pro Wrestling Mid South. How was that for you? What was the experience like? And
Well,
where?
I will start by saying that Greg is Pro Wrestling Mid South is 100% family friendly.
Right,
Uh, no foul language, no anything like that. Greg wanted area wrestling in our area for the longest had been plagued with things that shouldn't have been around the business,
right,
and so Greg wanted everything, and he's done a great job by doing that. But the first show I went to that wasn't Pro Wrestling Mid South, that I went to on my own, because I went to a place in Illinois with a guy named Jacob Edwin when I was a couple years in, or a year and a half
Okay.
in. But when I went out on my own for the first time, I went to a show called AFU, Anna Fight Underground,
I've heard of it.
and they are death matches and cussing, and
Right.
it is crazy the difference that between the two companies. And I'm not, like I said, I don't do nothing crazy. I'm not finna take a Canadian destroyer through a pane of glass, so I'm not doing any death matches.
I
But
hear you.
but one of my best friends that is in this business, and I met through Pro Wrestling Mid South. His name is the Mid South Monster, Bull Bronson,
I know who
and
he
he
is.
actually got me on out there. I went and did a seminar for. I went and enrolled in the seminar that they were having, and he got me a spot on the show that night. But it was ridiculous. I
So
don't think
talk
I've
to
ever
me
heard.
about
I don't
yeah,
think I've ever
talk
heard that many cuss words in my life.
so talk to me about that. You're used to this family friendly environment, and now all of a sudden, boom, you're over here where it's like you might as well be at a bar somewhere with a fight breaking out. It sounds like. Talk to me about what was it a culture shock for you,
Oh,
or
it was completely like I wasn't. I knew it was going to be different because I'd seen some of the posters, but I didn't expect it to be like that. And I didn't even have a spot on the show until I got there because you know who Davey Richards is.
right?
Davey Richards had canceled, and he was supposed to have this match with this guy, and I I showed up and I did the seminar, and Bull got me that spot, and it was just a little like 4 or 5 minute match, and I ended up putting the other guy over. It was their place. I was happy to do it, but it was just like the guy's promo before the match.
Right.
I caught me off guard, and then I walk out, and the crowd chanting caught me off guard. I'm like, dang, this ain't very family friendly. And I look over, and I'll never forget it. There was like a 7-year-old kid telling me to whoop that, and he was just going in,
Right.
and I wasn't expecting it. I'll say that.
I get you, man. Back in the day, we worked a lot of bar shows, a lot, and so at the bar shows, obviously, you can say a little more, be a little more violent, be a little more colorful. And it's hard sometimes because you get used to working in that environment, and then you're back on a normal show, and sometimes you really got to keep your p's and q's together on where you're at and what you can and can't say and what you can and can't do. Let me ask you this: was it fun?
Oh, it was fun. It was great. It was like I said, it was only 4 or 5 minute match, but I still got it on my phone, and it was fun for a completely different reason too. I'd never heard of uh, IWTV, Independent Wrestling TV, but
Right.
they were logged into that. They were plugged into that, so that was my first like IWTV match.
Well, that's cool. The environment itself. Take your match out of it. The culture shock of the two different environments. Did you feel like there's a place for that kind of wrestling, that environment, that more R rated or even X rated at times wrestling? Was that part of it fun to you, or did you feel like maybe you were kind of out of place in that situation?
For a split second, I felt like I might have been out of place, but if there are people that want to see it, then I think that there's always a place for it, especially in something that's as fluid as wrestling.
Right.
If there's people that want to see that kind of show, then there's always going to be a place for it. And no, after I processed what was going on, I got in on it too, and I kind of adapted a little bit.
Yeah, it can be fun, man. Well, here's the thing. I always felt like it's cool sometimes to be able to just express yourself in a different way sometimes. And I liked bar shows, especially when I was younger, because up until that point, I mean, everything was kid friendly then. Back then, every show was family orientated, kid friendly, kind of PG. And then you hit that ECW type era where the curtains kind of pulled back, man. The style of wrestling's kind of changed, and it can be fun, man. It can be fun. It was fun for me at times, just so I could maybe say some of the things that I wanted to say that I never could say anywhere else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or do some of the things. Well, let's discuss death match wrestling then, because I know I only got to ask you. I know that that's something you guys at Pro Wrestling Mid South don't do. I'm not saying y'all don't use some weapons here and there, steel chairs and this and that. I'm sure you do, because that's part of traditional wrestling. But death match wrestling, have you ever done any of it?
Now I think we'll have the occasional anything goes street fight where there's chairs and trash cans, and that's about as close as we get. I know. I believe it was actually Brandon Ray and a guy named James Elliott that they did a street fight, and they brought out the thumbtacks and everything. But
I,
it's yeah, well, that ain't for
hey,
me either.
dude. Even when I was young, look, we used to do KAW, didn't have no rules and hardcore matches, but it was regular, normal weapons, chairs, kendo sticks. I mean, even kitchen sinks, but there wasn't no, very few. I don't know that I ever remember us using thumbtacks.
Uh,
Flaming table a couple of times, but it was still just hardcore wrestling. It wasn't death match wrestling. And man,
yeah,
I'm not gonna be rolling around in no bunch of broken glass or thumbtacks or barbed wire. I'm from the era, if it's a barbed wire match, hell, the whole match is based on trying not to get put in the barbed wire, not diving right in head first, immediately.
yeah.
And that's
Uh,
kind of where it is now, dude. It's like if there's barbed wire up and you don't dive right into it, it's like it's a disappointment. I ain't cutting I ain't abusing my body like that. I abused it enough back in the day with bumps and different stuff.
yeah.
I'm not into that, dude.
And
I
I've
love
never
it
had
though.
the
It's like a car crash for me. When I first discovered death matches on YouTube, man, I probably spent 6 months just glued to it, because some of it's just so damn crazy. You don't even know what, I mean, why? You're like, why? Who would do this? But
yeah.
it drawed me to it, man.
And I might be wrong about those guys, those being the guys that brought out the thumbtacks, but I know they've only been brought out once for us, and I'm not necessarily opposed to thumbtacks because when I was little, I would I just to show off, I shoved one in my arm one day just to prove to somebody that I could. So I wouldn't
Right.
necessarily be against them, but I know at the time when they told me that they was using, well, whenever I saw them come out in the mail, oh, that's crazy. That looked like it hurt.
Right, man. You know it does, man. You know it does. I mean, here's the thing: that adrenaline's flowing. You take a big backdrop or something, you get slammed in them. You probably don't feel them. I would say more than likely, you probably feel them more when you get in the back and they start coming out.
Yeah,
With all that adrenaline. But I ain't a pincushion, man. I don't feel like I don't want to be all scarred up like that. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Uh, but look, we've got about 15 more minutes before we wrap it up. So let's branch out a little bit. Influences in pro wrestling, and it can be anybody. It can be our local guys, or it can be the biggest superstars in the world. Who are some of your biggest influences, man, in your career, or just in that you liked as a kid watching pro wrestling?
One of my, and like I said, I was telling you before, so I'll go ahead and get into that real quick. Some of my earliest memories in of life are sitting on the couch and my dad popping in a VHS tape and we watching wrestling together, and we'd watch it every Monday and every Friday, and we just that was like he would go outside. We wouldn't go outside and throw the football. We'd come inside and we watch wrestling, and that's
Right.
how we bonded when I was little. So, but one of my first favorites was Kane he still had the mask on. I was watching some of the old VHS tapes, and I love that guy. And then whenever I discovered John Cena, I was like the average kid. I took off with that. But
Right.
as far as my favorite and my one of my influences, one of the greatest wrestlers in my opinion is Arn Anderson.
Dude, I think that's unanimous. I think that's a unanimous statement right there, man.
But Arn Anderson, Tully, and and Ole passed away earlier this year. Maybe it was late last year, and I did a dive into him too. So for guys like that, Terry, the Thud gimmick originally, it was based off basically I was gonna be a baby Terry Gordy. I got the tights on like him. I came out in the leather vest. I had my hands taped up like he did. And but guys like that, I I love.
Yeah, I get you on that, man. Here's the thing: Ole's the bad dude. Arn, obviously. Tully's the guy that he's been gone so long. I don't think he, I don't think he gets the credit he deserves for being the wrestler he was, man. Tully
Oh,
is
absolutely.
one of the very best. And I'm not just when I say that, I'm not talking about just moves and bumps. I'm talking about timing. I'm talking about psychology. I'm talking about the whole thing, man. Tully is one of the most seamless guys to ever step in the ring. No matter what it is, even if it's a mess up, it don't even look like a mess up because he's got the ability to make it look like it was supposed to happen, like it's natural. One of the very
Absolutely.
best dudes, man.
If you look, if you watch a one of his matches, it's not the things that you see him do. It's the little things that you never noticed because he was so seamless with it.
Right, man. One of the very best, man. And I wish Tully would have had a little bit longer career, long like Arn, because I think people would appreciate. He's kind of been forgot since he's been
Yeah.
gone so long. But man, one of the very best, and Ole, one of the most old school wrestlers that you could ever want to be around, and another guy who understood master of psychology when it come to pro wrestling, understanding what wrestling is truly about.
Yeah.
Truly about connecting with those fans, whether you're a bad guy and they hate you or whether you're a good guy and they love you. Wrestling's all about making that emotional connection with these people. That's when, once you make that connection, then you can do anything you want pretty much, man. You can go either way and they'll stick with you. They'll boo you if they're supposed to boo you. They'll cheer you. But you got to make that emotional connection with the fans first.
Oh, absolutely. And one of my favorite things, because I've been a heel, I've been a face. I put it this way: it's much easier for me to get somebody to hate me than it is to like me. Just like, and I'm just a natural heel. If you were to meet me on the street, depending on how I am, I might just be an ass. Uh, but
Right.
uh, but no, I'm. It's much easier for me. And one of the things that I love about being a heel is a crowd that has never seen me. By the time I come out and I get in that ring, I can already make them hate me. They don't have to
Right.
know how I wrestle. They don't have to see me cheat. I'm just I can talk to them on the way around the ring, or just give them that look, and they know they're not supposed to like me.
Right, man. So look, let me ask you this. Your dad, he turns you on to wrestling. That's what y'all kind of bonded over, pro wrestling. Talk to me about what he thought when you actually became a wrestler. I'm sure he had to have been super proud, dude. Probably one of the proudest days of his life when first time he actually seen you in the ring in a real match on a real show in front of the audience, dude. So talk to me about that, man. What was your dad's thoughts about you when you actually done it and became a wrestler, man?
Well, like I said, he got me signed up when I was 15, and he's always been super supportive. So it was he'd always, and it's he's my dad, so he's gonna tell me things like this. But it wasn't just him hyping me up; he truly believed it, and it might not necessarily be true, but that's how he felt. That he always said that I could put on a better show than half the people he sees that are signed, and that's not necessarily true. He felt that way because he was just so proud of me and so happy that I was doing it. And like I said, the last time he was over here, or one of the last times he was over here, he sat where I'm sitting right now, and he watched me win that unified title against Brandon Ray, and
Man,
he was visibly happy, and he was just proud that I got back in it after this knee surgery.
well, that's a great memory, dude. That's a great moment you guys had together, especially in light of now with
Yeah.
everything that's gone down, man. That's really cool, dude. I'm glad of that, and I'm glad he got to see you win that belt, man. I'm glad he got to see. I'm sure he's seen it the first time, but I'm glad he got to see you get back
Yeah.
from this injury and get back on the game, get back on top, dude. I'm sure it meant a lot to him, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I know it did, and like I said, he was always happy, and he came and he'd watch me in person sometimes too, or a lot of times, but he wasn't able to make it that night, so I was sitting there showing him the video, and and all this with my dad, all of it happened Friday morning, but Saturday I was in Dyersburg and I wrestled Jason Perez, because in my head, wrestling always calms me down and takes me out of my own head. And for at least for that 10 to 30 minutes, however long it is, I'm not Darren Powell who just suffered this loss. I was Thud Powell who's doing what he loves to do, and it's always been that way. And my dad, another way I looked at it is my dad always loved to see me wrestle, so I'm sure that's what he would have wanted me to do anyway.
Right? Even this podcast, I didn't think we would do it. And I wanted you to know that, dude, I fully understand because we can do this anytime. We could have done this
Yeah.
anytime. It wouldn't be much to reschedule it. And I even tried. I know you kind of probably felt it, felt like I was kind of nudging you to maybe, maybe we should just postpone it and reschedule it. And you were like, no, when you sent me the message back, you're like, no, I'm good for it. Let's do it. And I understand that, man. It's commendable, dude, because a lot of people, everybody's different. Some people would have not wanted to deal with it. And like I said, I understood fully, man. Here's the thing: this is just a podcast. Real life takes precedent over any of this.
Yeah, well,
So,
another reason that I didn't postpone it is because I had played my dad some videos of my tag partner's uh, interview, and then I told him that I was going to be doing it. And this was a couple months ago, probably whenever we scheduled it,
right,
but he thought that was the greatest thing ever.
that's cool. And like you said, this was scheduled a couple months ago, and at the time you wasn't the champion, so the flyer for the thing was just you standing there. But you know what, 2 weeks later, I don't know, it's like longer than, how long you been the champion? How long been since you won the belt back?
2 weeks. Uh,
Okay, so we've
so it was
had this, go
we had
ahead.
this scheduled about 2 months ago, and for the first month and a half of it being scheduled, I was still injured and on the off list.
Right. And I wish I would have, if I'd have waited, of course you got to get the flyers out, but man, I'd have
Oh
loved to
yeah,
put my, created the flyer around you with the belt and stuff, but really cool stuff. Look, we're fixing to wrap it up, but before we go, one more question. Dream match. Now, nobody around here, WWE, AEW, New Japan, TNA, NWA, if you could have one match with one opponent, who would it be?
like I said, I was the average child by the time I was 5, so it was Cena was my hero. If I could do that 2025 farewell tour, I'd there'd be a stop on there for me. But
Hey, I,
if there was
I
any title that I could go for, and I know things are different now, and Billy Corgan and owns it and everything, but it would be the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship.
that's the title I wanted when I got into business. That was the goal. Of course, then it had done changed to the WCW, the big gold. But the lineage is what I always that when I got into business, that's what I wanted to be, the NWA World Champion, man.
Well, like I said, whenever I started, we were NWA Mid South. So in my head, that was obtainable. And I
Right.
mean, I'm only 23, so I'm
It's
I'm still super young. I mean, it still is obtainable, but yeah. So that's the title that I've always. I just love the way it looks. I love the history behind it. I love the people who held it in the 70s and 80s, and that's the title that I kind of when I first started. That's the one that I wanted.
right. And here's the thing, man. I see Pro Wrestling Mid South put out these little flyers from time to time. CM Punk, I seen they back in the day put out a flyer about CM Punk. You know, you can come here. Vince McMahon even. Maybe we see a Thud Powell wants John Cena. You never know what could happen, dude. I mean, you just never know what kind of mood John Cena might be in if he's seen it, and you never know what could happen, man. That would be awesome, but I'd sure like to see the flyer at least.
Yeah.
Thud Powell challenges John Cena, man, and let's see what happens. Open challenge, man.
Oh man. Yeah, that yeah, great. Those CM Punk posts and the Vince posts. Yeah, that was that that tickled me. I thought it was the greatest thing ever.
I did too.
And
It
then
popped,
everything came out about the second one, and I was
right? Yeah, they both popped me pretty good too, man. I got to admit, dude. Thud, man, it's been my pleasure having you on, dude. I appreciate you coming on, especially in at this time, man. Everything going on in your life and everything you got going on. I appreciate it so much, dude. I've been looking forward to this. I like talking to any of you Pro Wrestling Mid South guys because it's really where I find out my most information about Pro Wrestling Mid South.
yeah.
Learn most about
Uh,
it's talking to you guys.
well, I would like to put over that the there's not a lot of pro wrestling mid south out, but they are doing if you subscribe to the pro wrestling mid south whatever it is, I think it's like $9 a month, and you can live stream all the events now.
Oh, I didn't know that, dude.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
so
I,
they're doing that now. So they're live streaming all the events, but it's only for the subscribers. So you got to subscribe to be able to see the lives.
yeah, the only footage I see is just when somebody ever so often posts a random match, you know.
Well, if you look on YouTube, I don't got every single one of them, but I've got me and David Jason Rose's YouTubes, and you can just it's just Thud Powell and David Jason Rose. There are matches that are posted, and we post pretty regularly, so you can at least watch all of our stuff.
I'll have to check it out. I have to check out the subscription deal too. I didn't know that. I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah, they just
Uh,
started doing it in the last couple weeks.
yeah, that's cool because it is hard to kind of. The reason I know most of you guys is because of either hearsay, somebody else mentioned you guys, or seeing the flyers and just like I said, the footage I can find here and there. But there's not a lot of footage out. And when Greg was on here, we talked about that. He's from the mindset of if they know they can get it free on YouTube, why are they going to come to the show? And I understand that 100%. I mean that used to be across the board the mentality. You
Yeah,
know, if you want to see it live, you got to come here. We don't want our product out there. Uh, just fans filming it and stuff. But dude, I appreciate you coming on, man. It's always a pleasure. Anytime I deal with any of you Pro Wrestling Mid South guys, y'all are always on time. Y'all are always dependable, and y'all are 100% always respectful guys, man.
well, I appreciate you having me, and like I said, I'm sorry there at the beginning that I was moving around in the living room. My wife, like I said, had that work meeting, so I was watching my 1 year old.
Dude, real life takes precedent, man. And I got we lucky my daughter ain't run through here and screwed my green screen up and everything coming underneath it, dude. Family comes first, real life comes first. We can do this anytime, man. Thud, you, your girl, your baby, man, y'all have a great night, my friend.
Thank you. You too.
Take it easy.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys, you seen it right there, Thud Powell. Pro Wrestling Mid-South Unified Heavyweight Champion. Dyersburg every Saturday night, man. You can go catch him there. I think they're still doing Ripley too on Fridays. I'm not sure, but I think they are. You can catch Pro Wrestling Mid-South there. Family friendly product. You can carry the kids. You ain't got to worry about no foul language. You ain't got to worry about none of that kind of junk. Go check out Pro Wrestling Mid-South and go check out Thud Powell. Guys, listen, I want to thank everybody who tuned in. Wednesday night, we're back. I've got Bonnie and Clyde pretty much of the pro wrestling business. I got Danny Ice and Lindsey Wild, and Danny's motto is, people are fake and pro wrestling's real. So get ready for Wednesday night because I don't never know. You never know what Danny Ice is going to say. Guys, y'all take it easy.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that, spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas, think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past and the pettiness. A reflection of the emptiness, hilarious. You think you're worth my time, you're delirious, mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior, inferior. You know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.